Hello and welcome. In this video, we're going to be learning what an operating system is, and for this video, I recommend you watch Understanding What a Software Is in this same course, Computer Basics for Programmers, and this is because an operating system is a specific type of software. So if you understand what a software is, it's going to be a lot easier to understand what an operating system is. So now let's get started. First, I'm going to begin by explaining what an operating system actually is. So an operating system is a software built onto a device, so that device can work and be used. So an operating system is a software built onto a device so that device can work and be used. Right? It's a system operating a device. System operating a device. Right, it's an operating system, so it's a system operating on a device. So an operating system manages the hardware for a device, it runs applications, allows you to interact with and use the device it's on, and every single device needs one. So an operating system again manages the hardware, it runs applications, allows you to interact with and use the device the operating system is on, and every single device ever in existence has to have one. So, for example, when you turn on your computer, you can do things like you can sign in, you can run applications, and you can click on stuff, you can search for stuff, like you can search for apps or whatever you need, and you can do these because of the operating system. Because of the operating system. And oftentimes the operating system gets abbreviated to OS. So the operating system can also be abbreviated to OS. And the operating system is like the brain of the device it's on. So it is the brain of the device it's on. Right? And you need the operating system because you can't have a body without the brain. If the computer and the hardware is like the body, then and the operating system is like the brain, you can't have a body without its brain. So can't have a body without its brain. And this is why every single device needs one, because it's like the brain of the device that it is on. So the layout for an operating system looks like this. So you turn on your computer. You turn on your computer. The operating system runs. And then after the operating system runs, the operating system creates a nice little system for you to use. And this is typically what that system would look like. So you turn on your computer, the operating system runs, and the operating system creates a nice system for you to use. And some examples of different operating systems that you might already be aware of. Examples of different operating systems include Windows, which is used for most computers, We have Linux. Linux is an operating system that's uncommon for computers. But it is used for every single other device. Common for computers, but used for every other device. For example, the internet router in your house that runs the internet for you is running on Linux. It is a device that has Linux on it, and it needs Linux for it to be used and to run and for you to have internet. For example, the cable box on your TV is a device that has an operating system because it's a device and every device needs one. And the cable box that controls your TV and turns it on and allows it to work is also running on Linux. So we can say example is the internet router and the cable box in your house. And basically every single device that is not a computer runs on Linux. So the internet router and your cable box, they're using Linux. So then we also have macOS. You have macOS, which is used for all MacBooks. Used for all MacBooks. Then we have iOS. Used for all iPhones and iPads. And notice here we have OS. We have Mac OS and we have iOS. So again, the operating system is often abbreviated to OS, right? We have Mac operating system and we have the I operating system. That's what they're called. And then we also have Android. And Android is an operating system used for most non-Apple phones and tablets. So again, we have macOS used for all MacBooks, iOS used for all iPhones and iPads, and Android used for most non-Apple phones and tablets. So an example of an actual device that uses an operating system. Example of a device that uses an OS is the PlayStation. So the PlayStation is a device, so it needs an operating system, right? Because every single device ever needs one. So we have the PlayStation. The PlayStation turns on. PlayStation turns on. Then the operating system runs. And after the operating system runs, you can view and select games to play. And select games to play. And then you can play your games. And then you can play the game. So your PlayStation turns on, the operating system runs, and then the operating system allows you to view and select games, and the operating system also lets you play these games. So this entire screen and all its functionality which again includes viewing and selecting games, viewing and selecting games. Is the OS. So this entire screen and all its functionality, which includes viewing and selecting games, is the operating system. This entire screen here is created from the operating system. So for the iPhone, we can also go over this for the iPhone. So we have a screen for the iPhone here. So for iOS, this entire screen and functionality which includes viewing and using apps, is the operating system. So for an iPhone, this entire screen and functionality where you can view and use your apps is the operating system. Because again, the operating system is like the brain for a device. The operating system is what allows a device to run and be used. So anything this device can do is because of the operating system. So that explains what an operating system is. And now I'm just going to go over the key details from this video. So this is going to be the summary of the video. So we have the operating system, which can also be abbreviated to OS, is a software built onto a device so that device can work and be used. Right? A system operating on a device. And again, it manages the hardware. It runs applications. It allows you to interact with and use the device it is on. Every single device needs one. The brain of the device. You can think of it as the brain of the device that it is on. So for example, when you turn on your computer, you can sign in, run applications, click on stuff, search, and again, you can do these because of the operating system. The brain of the device, right? Because you can't have a body without its brain. And again, that's why every single device needs one. And again, the system for it looks like this. You turn on your computer, the operating system runs, and the operating system creates a nice system for you to use. And then examples include Windows, which is used for most computers. We have Linux, uncommon for computers, but used for every single other device. Examples of other devices include internet routers and the cable box for your TV. Then we have macOS, used for all MacBooks, iOS, used for all iPhones and iPads, Android, used for most non-Apple phones and tablets. And then an example of a real device looks like this. So for PlayStation turns on, the operating system runs, and then you can view and select games to play, and then you can actually play those games. And this entire screen here, when you turn on your PlayStation, and all of its functionality, selecting games, playing the game, you can actually see what games you have. Maybe you can talk to your friends and do things like that. That is all because of the operating system. The operating system creates the screen and creates all the functionality for it. And then for an iOS device like an iPhone, this entire screen and functionality, which includes viewing and using apps, is again created from the operating system, right? Because the operating system is like the brain for the device. So that concludes this video for understanding what an operating system is. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening.